Alright guys, we're back for yet another Bleach Brave Souls video, and it's that time again now. It has been a while since I have last done a top 10 video, and now with all the end of year characters that have dropped, and all the crazy 1000-year blower characters that have come out, it is now time to update this once more. And the way of how this system works is that we have every single attribute in the game being speed, heart, mind, technique, and power, and from the left side, you basically see who is number 1, and then all the way from the right side, it's basically from 2 to 10. So that's how the system works for any of you guys that aren't familiar with how I do this. And yeah, this was how we left off with the top 10 best characters in the game. And there has been a lot of new units that have come out, and some attributes have gotten weakened, and some of them have gotten even stronger, better than before. That it deserves a really nice update. So before we begin the list and add in the new characters, are there any changes that we want to do to the current list? Now, the only one that really comes to my mind is going to be for the power attribute when it comes to ranking Soifun. My opinion has changed a lot since her first release, to hating her because of the lack of guard break being a problem, to then actually liking her performance in Guild Quest to the point that I was completely proven wrong with how effective this unit is. So with that, I now think of her as the best power unit for now until we rank the other power characters that we have in the game. That's pretty much all I have to change here. Oh no, there's one more character, Isshin. I'm putting Isshin above Yuha officially. I hate to say this, but Yuha, he's showing his age already, has been power crept and replaced by a lot of different characters already when it comes to his own GQ rotations, and he isn't what he once was. He's definitely by far the most fun mind character that we have out of the entire list, not having an increased ailment chance. DPS being a little bit lower, it's like, I cannot think of him anymore as the best mind unit in the game, when Isshin is now starting to become a lot better. Like, he was better than Unohana in Limit Breaker Quest, and was the slot 1 character. Let me just say that, and I'm talking about the Christmas Unohana. But, yeah, I've got nothing else to really change. The rest is pretty much going to get updated as we go along with the list, so we may as well go ahead and start by updating the list. So, starting it off with speed, here are the new additions. Oetsu. Man. When I first saw this character and saw that he was a purity character, I was like, okay. I think this guy's still going to be really crazy good in Limit Breaker, but I don't know about Guild Quest. He's a purity character and whatnot. Odd. How wrong I was. This character does freaking 50 seconds in Nightmare Guild Quest, the EX Nightmare Guild Quest, at 2.5, and Yuha at 5.5, but most he can get in there is like around 40 seconds. This guy is proof enough of how to power creep a character, and also a really great experiment that they did, because this guy is a purity character with the gauge effect, and I have to be honest, he just became one of my favorite characters to use for the entire game, with how fast he is, his kit is, his skill set. And the crazy thing about this unit is that he doesn't have to rely on RNG, because he is a purity character. He does all of his damage through skills, and that's it. There's no RNG required. It's all skill of how you play as this unit right here. The only bad side to him is the EX move, because it's the weakest one that we have in the game, has a really long activation time, and it leaves you locked into place, but the rest is insane. Why? Let's just take a look at everything else. So, he has Bombardment +1, damage to enemies not afflicted by an ailment of 100%. We're calling that purity, so 100% purity. Is immune to fire, Frenzy +2, with the gauge Rampage, helps to build up the gauge even faster, has Long Stride, Poise Break. This is very important now because Guild Quest has officially implemented Poise to the bosses in Wave 4 and Wave 5, has Start Gauge of 70%, with Reacher's time of -12% and weakened defense. He has 140% purity. But when you activate this gauge is when you're officially going to be cooking with Oetsu. Look at this! He gains 100% Berserker and also gets Frenzy +1. So essentially, this guy has Frenzy +3 with 100% Berserker and 140% Purity. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. And he gets his cooldowns back and starts with the gauge, and you can easily build up the gauge once more just by killing off enemy mobs. And this guy can do that with ease. Like, he's ridiculous. Oh, and he also comes with Havoc of 20%, Marauder, and Sprinter +2. And he has the same kit as Unohana's too. Like his SA1, 3k length beam. SA2, 870. Only difference is the SA3, where it's a 1200 radius full screen. But this character, mad insane. I love this character. I absolutely love him. I went from being very skeptical about him to absolutely adoring this character. I like him more than Kenpachi. Like, no cap. I like him way more, but Kenpachi, bro, he's the GOAT. In Nightmare Guild Quest, he's capable of getting 55 seconds, even by just being 2 out of 5, and he can do it just fine with ease. Alright, next character, we have ourselves Askin. Okay, let's talk about him. Askin, I do feel like he is one of the more fun normal attack damage characters that we have gotten by far in the game, and I feel like as time will go on, his value will go up the more we get these characters with these ailment plus abilities that we have. So Askin, yeah, he's a Brave Battle character, alright? Because he is designed for that. But outside of Brave Battles, oh, he's actually really good because he has Flurry +3 with a really solid bruiser of 50% and also can boost on the entire kit. So, yeah, he also has Enhancer and Booster, so 43% extra attack and focus that he gives out. And he is a ranged character with Stern Ritter and Soul Reaper Killer. So, he can actually work as a substitute for like a lot of characters. And keep in mind, the Poison Plus, the way of how this status element works is that it will stack on top of the base status element that you apply. So like, let's say you're going to be using Holobankai Toshiro for the ranged Stern Ritter Guild Quest. You apply the freeze first with Toshiro. Askin will also be able to stack poison on top of the enemy mob, and you can basically give Askin damage to poison enemies and be able to do a bit more damage. Now, the problem here is that with Toshiro is that he has a regular freeze ailment. So if Askin rocks first before Toshiro, he is going to get screwed over. But let's say we do get a replacement for Toshiro and gets a status element plus. That new unit, whatever comes out, will be able to work together with Askin and might be better than Candace, even though he doesn't have any of the Guild Quest skills. But if you don't have Candace, this is a great sub to use. But more importantly, he's great in PvE content, also because he has Disabler. Let's say we were to get more difficult content and Iron Skin were to be introduced. This guy will be able to take away the Iron Skin just fine, just by proccing. That's the most important thing. So, yeah. But besides that, those are his only PvE skills. Oh, never mind. He also has Sharpshooter too, so that's, you know, a skill that can nullify range guard and also can nullify range resistance, with long reach of 20% and Sprinter +1. So, yeah. He also has a melee collision Nad string, same as Lige, but with long reach, that goes crazy. He has a lunge SA1, 800 AoE all around him, and then the SA3 is going to be the Plant Vortex, which is making him a really toxic character in Brave Battles. So, yeah, where do I classify this character among the best speed characters, huh? This is going to be an interesting one, but considering we're going to be getting Ulquiorra out... Okay. Here's what I'm thinking. I definitely want to keep this Neliel, because she's still really good. I want to say, let's get this Mila Rose out directly. Now, I would put him above Neliel if it weren't for the fact of the matter that he can provide shields and is immune to every status element, because that's kind of the only problem, though. So when it comes to using him, you definitely want to at least have element links with Nad. So Nad with whatever resistance that is going to be there. I don't remember all the status element puddles for every GQ. So like in the case of Melee Soul Reaper, it's Burn, I believe. Yeah, you want to make sure that you have Nad with Burn. So that's kind of the only problem, but he is still one of the better Nad characters that we have in the game, and I think this guy can actually be a very viable character overall. Like, I might rank him a bit higher, but for now, I don't really see Nad characters performing better than SP units unless they have really crazy stuff, like a certain character which I'm about to dive into. And yeah, up next, we have Christmas Isane. This is basically another farmer, so that's pretty much where I'm gonna leave it at that. Another farmer, but has the SP boost with high damage output. Like, she has a Berserker of 50% with Frenzy +2, increased element chance against power attribute enemies, and she also has farming skills, which is crazy. What else does she have? Oh yeah, Guard Break, plus hits hidden enemies, Havoc of 20%, Sprint +1, and then her SA kit, she has the Suction Vortex on the SA1, 3k length beam, and then the SA3 being full screen, so not that bad, actually. She's pretty good as a unit to use. Like, we can definitely put her, I want to say, somewhere in between Uryu and Songdu, because I still think that Songdu's kit is way better. The only thing is that it's just the shields that's holding him back, so we can kind of state that this Isane can be better than Songdu, but at the same time a little worse. So that's pretty much it. Definitely better than Uryu though. I'll definitely say that. But we're definitely gonna get Tensa out for sure, because what's the point of having multiple farmers in here? Like, we already have Senjumaru doing the exact same job, and then this Isane just does, you know, farmer super potions. That's basically about it. So, yeah, that's all I gotta add. And now on to the next character, Zambiera. I don't even know if I want to put this character, if I'm being honest, because I was not too optimistic with her performance in PvE, but her performance in Guild Quest, once you get all the elements procced, oh yeah, she's an exceptional character. Like, she does things nicely, but why do you have no Berserker and no SP boost? He just does a lot of damage to lacerated enemies and a lot of damage to burning enemies, and then gets, you know, 100% in total because of the link and the skill. And with the bonus abilities, you can easily give her full stamina damage boost and damage to lacerated enemies, and this character will be able to do even more damage. Frenzy +2, Frenzy +3 in Guild Quest, increased element chance against Oronkars, and then has more killer effect. Now, the good thing is that you can use this killer effect outside of Guild Quest, since Oronkars can be, you know, present in PvE content, should they choose to make them be active. The problem here is you need dupes for this character to be effective when you do not have killer. Because when I did not have killer, when I showcased her at 2.5, she was having a bit of a harder time in Link's Hawk Trials. Imagine we had Inheritance Trials. This character would have sucked, if you guys ask me. But yeah, this is a character made specifically for Guild Quest. Does have Havoc at least, Sprint +1, and Farming. And she has a good kit too, which is the unfortunate part. Like, she has the 3k link beam, 960, full screen, 1200 radius SA3, so... Bro, do I even add this character though? Why even add this character? God damn it. Because, like, realistically speaking, for Guild Quest, right? She's up there when it comes to doing 45+ second runs when you get dupes into her. And that's it. But outside of that, man, I can't believe I'm ranking more GQ only characters, man. I can't believe it. So, let me think real quick. Yeah, okay. I think I made up my mind. I'm gonna put her underneath Songdu for the time being. We might go ahead and reorganize the list before the end of the video, but for now, I'm unsure where to place this character. And if you guys don't like where I'm positioning this character, just make your own. Like, I'm being as factual as possible as I can, because in her Guild Quest phase, she does really good. In Very Hard Guild Quest before the buff, she was able to get 54 seconds off screen though. Like, when I showcased her, I got like 52, but I was still able to get it. In Nightmare, she can get really good scores, but you need a proc a lot with this character to be able to do it. Like, her DPS is basically a bit similar to Oetsu for when it comes to Guild Quest, but outside of Guild Quest, yeah, it isn't that kind of case whatsoever. But now we have an 11th spot, so I think we have to start removing a character then, huh? Well, I think we might want to remove Christmas Nelio then, if that's going to be the case. Like, I still think that her support is going to be better than Askin overall, by far. But Askin can be used as a Brave Battle character. He's going to be a really good unit to use, and I think that as time will go on, his value will also increase too over time. So, yeah, let's just go ahead and get Nelil off the list then for the time being. I might re-update this. Again, I'm trying the best I can, so yeah. Nelil, it was nice to have you, but you're gone. Millerose, bye-bye. Tensa, goodbye. And then Ulquiorra. I'm an Ulq fan. This hurts my heart doing this, but I have no choice. And yeah, that's what we have updated for speed. Now we can move on to heart. And this is gonna be easy too. Like, there's just no debate what we need to do for the heart attribute. Boom and boom. That is all we gotta do. Now let's talk about Ichigo real quick. He is one of the best characters in the game. Let's just get that out of the way. He is one of the best characters in the game. He is 9th anniversary Kenpachi, but with way better strong attacks, and also has long stride with the weaken plus element. With weaken plus, apparently you do 75% more damage compared to the regular weaken ability. And in Guild Quest, when it comes to using this character, it's gonna last a lot longer. In Guild Quest, the enemy mobs have like, what, 80% weaken resistance. With the weaken plus, you'll get that lowered to like 30%. So, yeah, he's insane. He's actually insane. Comes armed with recharge time of minus 14%, Berserker 60%, complete status immunity, debilitator of plus 5 seconds, devastation of 60%, frenzy plus 3, increased element chance against Quincy's, Marauder, poise break, 80% SP boost, and weaken defense, and has the same EX move as Kenpachi, like I stated. This is the massive spiritual pressure boost EX move, so once you apply it, you get 100% SP from this button alone. And because this is a multiplicative buff, it doesn't stack, so you're not getting 180% SP boost, but as a matter of fact, 360% SP. Ridiculous. 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 And this guy can get 56 seconds in Guild Quest. Now, I wasn't able to showcase it completely after I saw what Real TMW, which shoutouts to him, how he did that Guild Quest, which was absolutely insane. Like, you have no idea. And his kit, it's basically the same as, you know, Zombietta, but has a way better SA2. So 3k length beam with 1020 width, 1020 radius SA2. It is a superior strong attack, so you have a bit more cooldown. So instead of it being like 8, it's like 9 seconds. But because you have 14% recharge, yeah, it's basically going to be around that. And once you stack more recharge links, yeah, it's not going to be too big of a difference compared to the regular SA2. But yeah, 1020 radius with 140% mags. So essentially, it's just adding 20% more value to the already existing SA2, which is crazy to think about. And then the SA3 is 1200 radius full screen. And his Sultry, he does have Havoc of 20%, Long Stride, and Sprint plus 2. So he's a very speedy character, and also does have the defeated enemy bonus. It's not shown on BBS Simulator, but I may as well go ahead and highlight it for you guys. Defeat 20, you get 20% melee damage. Defeat 40, you get Team Party strong attack recharge of 15%, which is basically the skill that Yuha has, where you'll get your cooldowns back when moving in between the quest areas. And in Limit Breaker Quest, it still works efficiently. While it has 5% less value, you will still get all of your cooldowns back, regardless of the attribute in all the stages. So, really, really damn good. And then defeat 60, devastation of 60%, defeat 80, you get an extra soul bomb. It's basically Yuha's defeated enemy bonus, but way better. And that's why he's numero uno best heart character in the game. I'm feeling this guy is the best character in the game, I'm gonna be honest. Although, a lot of people can argue that Remy is number 1, Kenny is number 1. It just depends. Like, I would actually call Ichigo, Remy, and Kenpachi the holy trinity of the game, if I'm being honest. And Byakuya, he's no different too. He's really cracked. Now, not as cracked as Ichigo because he doesn't have the same EX move, but he's a really strong character too. Like, he provides 30% more damage to element-affected enemies per Soul Reapers, and it's a Team Party skill, so regardless of the affiliation, you'll be able to buff any type of Soul Reaper regardless. And has Berserker of 60%, Bombardment, Complete Ailment Immunity, Frenzy plus 2, Debilitator of plus 5 seconds, Increased Element Chance against humans, Poise Break, and Sharpshooter with 80% SP boost in defense, and can proc Paralysis and Weakening on the entire kit. Now, it's not Ailment Plus, but still, this is really good. And then the EX move, on top of being able to inflict ailments, he gives out 5 barriers to himself and all of his other allies too. And also has more damage. Look at that. Full stamina, only increased strong attack damage of 40%, which you can keep up just fine because he is immune, and also gives out barriers, Havoc at 20%, and Sprint plus 2. And then, look at this. 3K length beam, 960, full screen 1200 radius. So basically the same as Ichigo, different killer and all that. And yes, I do consider this guy to still be better than Toshiro because you have weakening, you have killer plus. There's a lot of stuff to take into consideration, and he just does a little bit more scores in Guild Quest compared to Toshiro. And I have all of these characters match transcended too, so I know what I'm talking about. That being said, bye-bye Halloween Noel. You never really aged that well upon coming out for me. But more importantly, a legend has finally stepped down from my top 10 6th anniversary Aizen. God, this hurts my heart, man. He was one of my favorite characters. Sayonara, 6th anniversary Aizen. Now, mind. I have to be honest with you guys. The mind attribute in 2024 did not get as much love as it did in 2023, by far. Just because of the simple matter of fact that the only broken release was this Ishin right here, who had Rampage. It was able to lacerate and burn, do crazy damage. And the crazy thing about this character is that while he has been officially replaced by this Ichigo, he was still able to put out 50 seconds remaining. And I've seen it on YouTube that this guy was able to do so with some crazy RNG. Like, he's capable of doing that, but in Limit Break Request, more importantly, he just proved to be really effective, more so over Christmas Unohana, just because of the ailment combo that he had with Rampage and everything that, he's still really good in there. But, man, Mind did not get that many good characters. And while we have gotten releases this year, they don't surpass Ishin. They don't even replace completely Yuha and Ishin as the top 2 best characters in the game. So let's just go ahead and get over that real quick. So starting it off with Retsu, she's definitely one of the better characters that we have gotten for the Mind attribute. But you guys will see a problem here that a lot of these other characters have no Berserker. This Retsu is one of them, but she is completely safe because she has 55% full stamina damage boost, 20% from the 6-star abilities, and 35% from the soul trait. So base damage, she's actually doing quite fine, and in Guild Quest, she proved to be a more than effective character, completely power creeping Future Society Ulquiorra, considering she had Frenzy +2, Frenzy +3 in Guild Quest, the full stam, which I mentioned earlier, Bombardment, Debilitator of +5 seconds, increased element chance against Quincy's, has these Juju skills, 80% SP boost, recharge, weaken defense, weaken immunity, and she can paralyze on all of her attacks. And her EX move, I think it's basically the same as Byakuya's, but can heal. Doesn't provide shields, she only provides them from the Soul Bomb, which is interesting enough. And she also has Havoc with Sharpshooter and Sprint +1. A solid kid too, now that I think about it. What was her SA1 again? What was this? 840 AoE. Oh, okay, yeah. Excuse me. She has the same SA1 as Giselle, and then the SA2 is the same as the 9th anniversary Kenpachi, and then a regular 1200 radius full screen SA3. So overall, as a Mind character, even outside of Guild Quest, she is definitely a very nice and competitive Mind character, to the point that I would at least put her... Let me think real quick. Do I really want to put her above Yuha? For now, let's just leave her underneath Yuha, and then we'll think about it as time goes on. So, the next character we have... where do I begin with this? Okay, this is a Guild Quest character that at least has Berserker. So technically speaking, you guys would think that this character would be as good as Senjumaru and Retsu, but no! Guess what? She was cucked. She was actually cucked. Let's just take a look at everything else. Berserker 50%. You can boost on the SA2. Okay, but did you at least give her a good second strong attack? That's the question. What did you guys give her? The fuck? You gave her Suction Vortex? So you gave her a strong attack that can proc ailments, but doesn't proc them on the SA2, and more importantly, it's as an SA2 as not an SA1? What the fuck? Are you serious? That's the one big gripe I've always had with this Rukia. Besides that. But going back on topic, she does have Debilitator of +5 seconds, Enhancer of +10 seconds, Frenzy +2, Frenzy +3 in Guild Quest. Increased element chance against Soul Reapers. Healer effect of 50% in Guild Quest. Outside of that, it's 30, but you're never gonna get it. Marauder, melee damage 10%, 30% in Guild Quest. Shared complete status immunity and status element spiritual pressure boost of 80%. And can proc, freeze, and drain on the entire kit. So if you have Shunsui with her, she'll be able to work fine. But like, the thing is, the skill set, I do not mind because it's similar to Senjumaru's. But the kit I'm not very fond of, which was why she was actually held back. The SA1, she has a 750 AoE lunge directly. It's the same lunge as the likes of 9th Anniversary Kenpachi. And Kenpachi, as you guys all know, he is a crackhead. He is one of the best units in the game. But here's the thing. This type of lunge, SA1, with the suction vortex as an SA2, does not combine well, as you're going to be missing a lot of range when it comes to killing off the enemy mobs. Also does not help that you don't inflict ailments with this. What you need to do when it comes to using the SA2 is that you first need to proc with either the SA3 or the SA1, and then you get to do more damage with the SA2, which is stupid. Why do I need to bother on that? And we already have a boosting unit, being Parasol Shunsui. Now, while this character does okay scores in Melee Squad 0, she needed to be better. I'm gonna be honest. She definitely needed to be. Outside of guild quests, she is alright. Like, you're still gonna be able to one-shot the enemy mobs just fine. Content is easy, but in guild quests, she needed to be a lot better. By far. By far. And again, it has to do with the kit. He also wasn't given an EX move. Oh, and I forgot, the only redeeming factor about this character is the fact that you have an 1170 in front. That is the only positive I have to give to this character. Now, when it comes to ranking this Rukia, alright, let's just talk, okay? White is better than her in PvE content. Let's just leave it at that. But in Guild Quest, White is not as good as Rukia, even though these are different Guild Quest rotations. So, this means that, for now, I'm going to be putting Rukia here. It's a bit of a weird placement, but what can you do about it? Next, Candace. Candace! He was done better than Rukia with a kit, but no Berserker. He only has damage to paralyzed enemies of 40%, which is low. Frenzy +3 in Guild Quest. Frenzy +2 outside of it. Increased element chance. Healer effect of 50% in Guild Quest. Outside of it, 30% range damage. SP boost of 80%. Weakened defense. Elite. Oh yeah. Another thing that I forgot to mention, Rika does nothing with her Soul Bomb. This Candace at least will be able to lower down the enemy mob's defenses, but that's it. Innate abilities, Havoc of 20%, Paralysis Immunity, Sprint +2. SA1, 3k length beam. SA2, Suction Vortex into a 3k length beam with 1020. With SA3, full screen 1200 radius. Yet, her DPS is very lacking. That's the one problem. And the crazy thing about all of this is that both Candace and Rukia do the same scores at 1.5. They're not that different. Like, both are capable of getting the same score. The only difference is that one is cocked on the kit, one, on the other hand, is cocked on the skills. Which is ridiculous. So, like, I can choose to rank Candace higher than Rukia, and it will not be different. I can choose to rank Rukia higher than Candace, and it will not be that different. Which is ridiculous to think about. And honestly, because I like Candace more, and I think her kit is more fun outside of Guild Quest, I'm putting her above Rukia. But that's it. That's literally it. There's nothing else I have to discuss here. And thankfully, we do have one more mind unit, and this is the last good one, thankfully, and it's that Ichigo. This guy got a really good resurrection. That being said, I wish that it were a little bit better. To be honest, he did pick up Booster, which he did need since he does boost on the second strong attack. And he also picked up full stamina only, increased strong attack damage of 20%, and Frenzy +1 got changed with Frenzy +2, which is very huge. It's a deal breaker for this character right here. So his DPS went up tenfold. The only problem here is he needed a little bit more damage. Just a little bit more. The Bruiser still remained the same, and the damage reduction still was there. So, like, if you guys ask me, they needed to completely replace Bruiser and DR in favor of Purity. in this kind of case. Like, Purity would have been great to have, Pure Silent Skin would have been great to have overall. But besides that, his DPS is kind of similar to Ikaku's. Yeah, is immune to weakening and paralysis, 100% chance to hit dodging Soul Reapers, and then, yeah, great kit too. 3k length beam, 960, and then a full screen SA3. So yeah. You can use this character for Guild Quest as a boosting unit, for sure. The problem here is you're not going to be expecting the most out of the DPS. He's an SP character, and you traditionally want more so than AD characters to be as your side units, but he is still going to be a really good and effective character to use outside of Guild Quest and everything else. I think he's by far one of the more fun ones, and I think with his resurrection, he is deserving to be among the top 10 characters. So, with this... Okay, where am I going to rank this character? I'm feeling below Nini. For the time being. And I want to bump off Asnoth from the top 10. I have to be honest, he's not that good after a while. Yeah, so we're at least going to get him off the list directly. These are going to be the 4 characters that are going to be dropping off completely. Oh, I forgot to do one last little quick adjustment. Yeah, there we go. That's a lot better. But then again... you know, no, that's actually good enough. That's actually good enough, because I forgot that this guy can still be okay in Guild Quest, but he lacks so much DPS, it's not even funny. So, that's pretty much it. I think this is about as good as we can rank this Ichigo, to be honest. So, yeah. I'm still unsure if I want to put Yuha below Retsu. That's the thing. So, for now, we'll just leave it at that. And now, these characters are getting off the list, so... Bye-bye Asnoth. Bye-bye Aizen. Good riddance to you! Oh god, why was I... Okay, excuse me. And, bye-bye Ikaku. That's all I gotta really say. Even though he's a farmer, you guys get the point. Alright, let's go over tech, and somehow I completely forgot to include Shinji on the list. So, here we go. And, thankfully, the rest of the list is pretty easy to rank. So, let's just go ahead and go by this. Boom, and boom, and lastly... we'll leave her for last on second thought. So, let's just go over the characters first. So, Giselle, easily the second best tech unit that we have in the game by far, with the perks that she was given. Or he. Guy's a femboy, in case y'all weren't aware. So, Soul Reaper Killer plus, strong attack reaches time of minus 14%. He has Frenzy plus 2, with Team Party, Technique, Attribute Character Damage, Status Summon affected enemies of 30%. So, the crazy thing is that all tech characters will take advantage of this. Even Grammy, Shinji, you guys name it. Berserker of 60% with Bombardment. Bruiser was wasted. Why does Giselle have it? It's so stupid. You have damage to dominated enemies of 100%, which is really good. Increased element chance against Soul Reapers with Debilitator of plus 7 seconds. Sharpshooter, 80% SP boost, weakened defense. Has the EX move, which is going to be the Plant Vortex, which is actually pretty nice. It's an AoE in front, Havoc of 20%, Paralysis immunity, and Sprint plus 1. And then the SA1, same SA1 as Christmas Retsu. SA2 is going to be the Vortex and the Pushback attack. The only kind of bad thing about the character, but for whatever reason, it still works for her. For him, her. And then the SA3 is a 1200 radius full screen SA3. So you cannot go wrong with that. And, yeah, very good character. Easily a nice, deserving character. And Giselle and Zambietta, fun enough, completely replace 7th Anniversary Ichigo for Guild Quest. So, yeah. Now, going over Bankai Shinji, this guy is a mid-month character as an end-of-month character. With the amount of stuff that he was given, I think that this guy is really damn good. He has Frenzy plus 2, with a Berserker of 50%, and then you do 60% more damage to confused enemies, with a good Devastation, increased element chance against Soul Reapers, 80% SP boost. Actually, it's 120%. Because he has the SP boost of 40% from the Soul trait as well, with Squad 0 plus, recharge of minus 12%, weakened defense, and you proc weakening and confusion on the entire kit. No EX move, but he's completely fine even without it. I was capable of getting 54 seconds with him in very hard Guild Quest, and I'm curious to see how well he'll do in the Nightmare difficulty. And he'll be a lot better too, because they made the Guild Quest a ×5 rotation now. Every single PvP Guild Quest is now ×5. Just that they made the side mobs a bit more tanky, but I think this guy will be fine considering he was given Berserker. So yeah. SA1, it's the same SA2 as Giselle, but it's as an SA1 960 in front, and then the SA3 is a full screen 1200 radius, which is why I think that this character is an easy top 3 for tech, by far. And lastly, let's go over Lil Toto. Lil Toto is an interesting one. Not really, because he's another Guild Quest character, like Zombietta, like, Retsu. So, yeah, no Berserker. So, what does she have? She has damage to drain enemies of 30%. Team Party Queen C damage to element-affected enemies of 30% and can inflict lacerate and drain on all of her attacks. And she is the first mid-month character to ever come with the EX move. She has a lunge forward, similar to Soifon, but can proc elements, so yeah, and also gives out barriers too. So 5 barriers to herself and all of her other allies. Has Frenzy +2, Frenzy +3 in Guild Quest. Havoc of 20%, increased element chance against Quincy's. Killer effect of 50%, Marauder, melee damage of 30%, 80% SP boost, weaken defense. And of course, no Berserker, once more. No Berserker, just does more damage once you inflict ailments. Comes with Long Stride, Swarm +1, and weaken immunity. Her kit, she does come armed with the, Suction Vortex, similar to, Yuha. Oh, and, this Rukia, true, too, I forgot. Has, the 960 in front, and then the full screen 1200 radius SA3, so... not much I can really say about this character, really. It's just the same as, this Zombietta, except Zombietta's way worse, I have to be honest. And, she's similar to Candace, realistically speaking. I feel like she's exactly the same as her, when it comes to using her in Guild Quest. So, where am I gonna rank her amongst these tech characters? Because I still feel like, the Swimsuit Bambi is a little bit better, because she does have Berserker value. Lil Toto doesn't, on the other hand. But, Lil Toto has a better kit than her. That's it. So, it's either underneath her or above her. That's how I'm kind of feeling. Yeah, for now, let's just leave it at that. We'll update this list one last time. And anywho, these 3 characters are getting off the list, so... wow. If only Orihime didn't have GQ skills like Flurry +1, Flurry +2, and Guild Quest, am I right? Rengiku, great skill set, but was never good with her kit. Yeah, get the fuck out of my list, bitch! And now we have power left to rank, which unfortunately, more than half of the releases that we got for power is the fact that they all have Guild Quest skills. That's pretty much about it, so let's just go over the first one. Let's start off with Basby. Now, this Basby, yeah, he's Soul Reaper Killer Plus with strong attack reaches time of -14%, and I'll just get this out of the way. It's exactly the same as Lil Toto. It does have a little bit more damage, with 80% damage to burning enemies, so I'll just give it at that. Has Debilitator of +2 seconds, Devastation of 60%, Frenzy +2, Frenzy +3 in Guild Quest, increased element chance against Soul Reapers, Killer effect 30 outside of Guild Quest, 50% in Guild Quest, the same melee damage, 80% SP boost, weaken defense, weaken immunity. No Berserker, like I stated before. He does have the trap mechanic on the SA3, similar to Unohana's, but they actually changed the SA3 this time around. By that, I mean, it's, a regular 1200 AoE in front, so it's basically better than the 1170, but at the same time, you're kinda, how do I put this, tracking the enemies all in one place, so it's kind of one of the better SA3s. But he also has a good kit. He has, oh, I didn't know he had an 870 width. So he has the skinny beam, so 870 width with a 3k length beam, SA2 being the 960, which is good, and then this SA3. The only problem with the SA3 is, Basby does not have the extra cooldown reduction when at full stamina like Unohana, so it's gonna have more so the same cooldown as like Spirits Are Forever with Mayuri, because I believe it's a 15-second cooldown on the SA3. Do correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section down below. But besides that, good in Guild Quest, outside of Guild Quest, if you're not paired up with Killer, you can say goodbye to this damage to burning enemies. Thankfully, in Link Slot Trials, he can take advantage of this, but man, these characters being reliant on Killer, I do not like. I really don't. So, that being said, for Basby, this is going to be an interesting take. Where am I going to rank him? I want to say above Ulk, maybe? I don't know. Yeah, seems about right. I can't think of any other better place to rank this character, to be honest. Like, even though this guy has Berserker, like, it's only 20% at the end of the day, so it doesn't really make too much of a difference. And yes, you do build up the 20% strong attack damage buff, but then you only have, like, 40%. The damage they do is essentially almost the same. So there's that. Huh. Very interesting. Yeah, I think I'm comfortable with leaving Basby at number 3 for the time being, so... next character, I want to save Senjumaru for last. Christmas Nemu. This is a really good character. One that I'm actually pleased because this is a NAD character that doesn't have any Guild Quest skills despite being made for Guild Quest. Because she is essentially the same as Christmas Neliel, but way better. So, Flurry +1, 85% Bruiser, Booster, Complete Ailment Immunity, Enhancer, Gauge Rampage, Multi-Barrier +2, Poise, Sharpshooter, Start Gauge of 70%, and Recharge of -12%, and can boost and give out barriers. She does have Long Reach, which is ridiculous, Sprinter +1, and for whatever reason, 20% more DR against Quincy's, which is stupid. I have to be honest, you're giving yourself barriers. Like, why would you need that? Now, what do you get from the gauge? There you guys go. An additional 100% Bruiser, and Flurry +1. So, yeah, this character gets Flurry +2, 100% Bruiser, and, of course, the baseline 85% Bruiser that she already has via the 6-star abilities and whatnot. So, very cracked character. Very, very cracked. Now, not on the same level as Aizen. Of course, she's better than Askin. But, as a character, oh, she's good. She's really good. Like, I've got no complaints. That being said, she does have the range collision nat string, so that's kind of the only negative side, but she's still ridiculously strong. SA1, I think it's the same. Oh no, she has an 18% shave, so never mind. 800 AoE in front, full screen. Yeah, really broken nat character. I'm happy of this release by far, that she's definitely worthy of being a top 10 power character by far. So with this, I think I'm gonna go ahead and place her. What would I rank this character? Huh. Really interesting. Power doesn't have that many good characters, huh? Yeah, I think I'm putting her above 8th Anniversary Ichigo. I don't care. And, oh, right. Pop, autoing died, huh? What put this character? I mean, she still sucks in Guild Quest, so it's not like it's that much better. Yeah, okay. I'm convinced with putting her above 8th Anniversary Ichigo now that I think about it. Now, moving on to the final set of power characters that we do have the resurrection of Mummy Rukia, 10 years later Rukia, and Senjumaru, but let's start off with Rukia first, because I feel like her resurrection is worth talking about, because I think she got a really good resurrection to the point that she is definitely deserving of becoming a top 10 character, even though it'll be at the lowest. So what did she pick up? She picked up damage to frozen enemies of 20% via the soul trait, and her already existing damage to frozen enemies of 20% got buffed from 20% to 30%. So overall, she now has 50% more damage. Her Berserker remained the same, no guard break, but she did pick up the 50% SP boost, which is really strong. And do keep in mind that once you transform into her Bankai state, you do get a temporary disabler for 10 seconds, which is actually massive for being able to get the SP boost and get the damage to frozen enemies very consistently. And it's a character with Frenzy +1 too. I used her in the Nightmare Melee Espada Guild Quest, and she performed nicely. Now, it's not on the same levels as the 9th Anniversary Kenpachi. Let's just go ahead and get that out of the way. But at Max Transcendence, I came close to like around 20 seconds in Nightmare. And considering this is a really old character, we're talking end of year 2020, that just got a resurrection, I think it actually deserves a pass. And even then, the character can still be quite fun. It's just a lack of guard break when you do not have melee or ronkers available to you, where you just don't get all of your damage consistently in, and some of the mobs that you kill with the SA1, they just stay alive. Like, you just break their guard, taking away a little bit of their HP, and they just don't die. That's kind of the only problem that I had when I was using this Rukia overall, but she still is great. Like, She has the 570 lunge, which is the only bad part of her kit, but has the godly 960 and then a 1200 radius full screen attack, and is just overall now pretty good. That being said, nothing too crazy for the power attributes overall, but I think that she is definitely deserving of getting back up there. So with that, I'm thinking of putting her above Yamamoto, believe it or not, because I do think that she's actually a lot better for the Nightmare difficulty. Let me just leave it at that, whereas Yama kind of struggles to clear at max transcendence. I'm not gonna lie to you. And, yeah, below Misaki. Now, Misaki is worse than Rukia, outside of PV, but in Guild Quest, she's kind of better, so, like, you can kind of make a case of her being better than Misaki, but that's just really about it. Realistically speaking, we need a replacement for this character. I'm so tired of using her. And then lastly, let's end it off with Bankai Senjumaru. Now, Bankai Senjumaru was a lot of people's disappointment when she was shown, but people are starting to grow accustomed to this character. Now, she is yet another character with the Guild Quest skills, but thankfully, she has baseline damage multipliers, with Berserker 40% and damage inflicted at full stamina of 20%. And this character does superbly well even outside of Guild Quest, just because of the simple matter of fact that she has the ailments plus, which stack on top of each other directly, so you're going to be able to do more damage, and you have the same EX move as the 9th anniversary Gremmy. You can buff yourself and all of your other allies, debuff the enemies, and of course, inflict drain, which is ridiculous. So yeah, the only downside to it is that these two skills are wasted when we could have gotten like 20% more strong attack damage to power characters. We could have gotten more damage to element affected enemies that support all Soul Reapers. Something similar to the 9th anniversary Grammy, or just even better skills in general. But that being said, Frenzy plus 2 with Berserker 40, Full Stam 20, and 80% SP boost is no joke overall. And you still have a lot of the other perks, like you have Poise with Poise Break, 80% SP boost, Weaken Defense, and Marauder. So that's kind of it. While she does a lot less damage compared to Soifon, I do think that she is going to be a bit more consistent because she has Marauder. So there's that to take into consideration, and you're still going to be boosting. The Soul Tree, on the innate skills, you have Havoc of 20%, Paralysis Immunity, and Spurn plus 2. And then the kit, well, Suction Vortex on the SA1, 960 in front, full screen 1200 radius, SA3. And, yeah, other than that, really damn good. Better than Mugetsu, for sure. With what she is given, she might be better than Soifon. I still need to see her performance in Guild Quest, but she's already going to be doing better than Unohana for the Guild Quest that she was designed for. And outside of Guild Quest, yeah, she's still perfectly capable. So, either way of how we look at things, Senjumaru, it's kind of tied between Soifon, if I'm being honest. Like, Soifon, the only problem is that she doesn't have Guard Break. That's it. But besides that, she just makes every single content a joke, if I'm being 100% realistic with you guys. So, yeah, you guys can argue for Senjumaru to be number 1 or number 2 for power. Like, it's very interchangeable between these factors overall. It's just the two skills have been wasted for Guild Quest, but everything else about her and her status element plus, in my opinion, makes this character a more acceptable release despite being given Guild Quest skills. The Guild Quest skills are unfortunately a big waste for this character when she had so much potential to be better, but she's still really good though. Like, the status element plus the EX move, in my opinion, saves her from being a bad character and is a lot better than most of the GQ only characters that we have gotten. Senjumaru compared to Zambietta, he shits on Zambietta. Senjumaru compared to Candice and Rukia, she's a lot better than these two characters right here combined. She is better than Lototo. Like, you cannot make this up. You cannot make this up. She is better than Basby as well. Yeah, that's just how I'm feeling overall with how they made this character. I could be wrong, okay? My list is subject to change, and even I can make mistakes. Heck, this entire list was a bit more difficult to make because of all these characters only being advantageous in Guild Quests, where outside of them, yeah, they can suffer from flaws. Like this Zambietta, for example. Like, Zambietta, she's better than all these three characters. Better than Songdu, Macy, and Unohana in her respective Guild Quest rotation. Outside of that, this character is mid. Like, realistically, she shouldn't even be on the list when she doesn't have Killer, when normally characters like Senjumaru, Asuka, Uryu, and this Christmas Isane perform better than her. But when she has a Rank Killer, she's great. Outside of that, she is dog shit. And then Rukia and Candice, yeah, they have the SP boost, yes, but no Berserker is very noticeable. And then this is the only character that doesn't have Berserker that gets away with it just by having full stam damage boost, literally. That's it. I've got nothing else to add here overall. So, yeah. And with that being said, Yama, time to say goodbye to you as well. You have now officially fallen off, my guy. Rest in peace. And goodbye, Nell, my Mashiro. So yeah. Oh, and Lige too. I mean, to be fair, you guys can kind of make a case of Lige being number 10 and Rukia number 10. It just really is dependent at the end of the day. So yeah, I do like Lige more than Rukia, but considering Rukia can do alright in guild quests, I'm gonna give her the spot and bump off Lige. And so yeah, that's pretty much the list for the top 10 of every single attribute. Now, let's just do some final adjustments real quick. After thinking some things through, I think Lil Toto should be a bit below this Bambietta right here, if you guys ask me. Like, Bambi just does a lot better scores than her in her respective guild quest rotation, but that's really just about it. Speed, I think I'm completely okay with. I'll just leave Zombietta as is, even though I would personally rank her a bit lower. Art, I think, is completely fine. I think it's perfect. There's no changes I need to make here. It just completely lists out all of the best characters perfectly, so, like, there's nothing to worry about here. Mind, on the other hand, I'm a little bit iffy, though, but maybe I'll just put that Ichigo above Yumichika if you ask me, just because of the better kit, realistically speaking. Like, if you want to use this character over Yumichika and co-op content, he's going to be better, and he still has a usage in Guild Quest, so that's kind of the main reason as to why, but keep him somewhere around here. So that's pretty much where I'm going to end the list. Tech, completely fine with how I have things set up, and power, it's interchangeable. So yeah, that's the list for every single attribute, and now let's just go over the overall top 10 best characters that we have in the game. Alright guys, the final part of this Yap session, we finally have the top 10, or I guess I could call this a top 11 because I was very unsure who to pick as my 10th character to fit the list because of the amount of options that we have that pretty much vary overall. And I was set back whether to have True Shikai or Ishin in the list, but then the more I thought about it, the more I thought I may as well add both of the characters in just to pretty much give a complete conclusion because I was very mixed. And while this one was easier to make compared to the entirety of all 5 attributes combined, this one was a bit easier because I could gather all my thoughts and point out who I feel are the best characters in the game. So between number 1, 2, and 3, obviously the GOATs. I would call this the Holy Trinity for when it comes to characters with Flurry plus 3, Insanely High Berserker, and the SP boost. These 3 characters just completely obliterate the game. And the crazy thing about this is that it's entirely interchangeable between the 3 spots. You can argue Ichigo to be number 1, and you guys would be right. Just because of how speedy he is, his DPS being really damn insane. Like, it's a no joke. But then you have Grammy, which is still better for autoing and being an insane support character for a lot of the Quincy Sternritters that we have gotten in the game. And while his DPS doesn't match the same levels as 9th Anniversary Kenpachi and this Fullbring Ichigo, he is still insane. And he is still one of the few characters to have the homing vortex, which isn't introduced as often anymore, considering we just get flat out 960s again like we used to back in the year of 2020. So there's that to take into consideration. And Kenpachi's kit, while he is weaker in terms of kit, he is still stronger just because of the DPS that he is able to provide. Because he can still get 40% damage to lacerated enemies, he has a higher Berserker value, and of course regular weakening. But the only thing is that his kit isn't as good as Ichigo or Grammy, but is still a powerhouse to behold. So once again, you guys can argue for any one of these characters to be number 1, 2, and 3, and you guys would be completely right. Giving my own honest opinion, the way of how I feel with the characters, with how I feel Ichigo's number 1, number 2 Grammy, and number 3 Kenpachi. But again, very interchangeable. Like, the way of how you switch these 3 characters, you guys would be right. Like, I'm not kidding. I am not kidding. And then number 4, I think it's a solid spot. Definitely Oetsu. Just because of the fact that he is an insane purity character that just completely demolishes all these other characters right here. Because he doesn't rely on RNG. He has an insane damage output, and at 2.5 being able to do 50 seconds in Nightmare, that's stupid still. Yeah. I've got nothing else to add for Oetsu. And then 5 and 6, Byakuya and Toshiro. A lot of people are saying that Toshiro is better than Byakuya, which it's debatable, but after using both of the characters for a while, even though Byakuya is a slower character, I just felt that this guy was still stronger than Toshiro, considering everything else he had. Like, he has a way better SA2, a way better EX move, and there's just no competition, even though these 2 characters do have different killers. But one thing is for sure, Byakuya has Killer Plus, whereas Toshiro has a regular killer. Albeit, this guy, he is one of the few characters to have double killers, which is No Affiliation and Incinerator, but do keep in mind that his No Affiliation killer is only 20% killer effect, whereas Byakuya, being ranged human and having Human Killer Plus, it's 40%. So that's just the only difference, really, but either way, you guys can pretty much interchange these 2 characters directly, but I still think Byakuya is the stronger character, by far, still. 7, Giselle. I feel like it's a solid spot for this unit overall. Now, the kid is a bit weird, but is capable of getting really high scores in both Very Hard, Guild Quest, and Nightmare, and is a fantastic tech unit overall, which is great to see. And then 8 and 9, very interchangeable between the 2. Like I stated before, like, you can argue for Senjumaru to be 8 and Soifun number 9. There's definitely going to be a bit of a debate, but once again, you can interchange these 2 spots because of how similar they are. Now, Soifun is going to be stronger than Senjumaru, and a lot more speedier. The only problem? Well, lack of guard break, lack of Marauder. That's just about it. And then this Senjumaru, while she is weaker than Soifun, she does have Marauder, and is going to be able to still provide really good damage output. Of course, it's definitely going to be better than Mugetsu by far, since Mugetsu lacks Debilitator, and his weaken is not as consistent as most of the other characters that we have in the game. And then number 10, either Ichigo or Isshin, to be honest. Like, the reason why I'm putting more value into Isshin is because of how more future-proof this guy is for Limit Breaker Quest overall. Even though I still think that this guy, as a Rampage character, is weaker than Unohana and Kyuuge because of the kits, but at the same time, he has the increased element chance. His burn and lacerate combo is just way stronger than what Kyuuge and Unohana has, which is kind of why I decided to think back a lot more and put more value into this guy than what Unohana and Kyuuge are, despite me placing the characters a bit more high than this Isshin right here. So that's why, and also he just kind of gets better scores by far, since again Isshin can still get 50 seconds in Nightmare, as I've seen on YouTube. So, and this True Shikai, obviously, I do think that he is power correct to some certain degree. Like, he is still good in guild quests, but again, I was very uncertain whether to place him or Isshin at number 10, and now, yeah, this is just how I feel. So, again, 10 and 11, very interchangeable. So, yeah, that's my top 10 list, and we're done. A bit controversial when it comes to some picks that I have managed for both the top 10 best characters in the game, and of course, the top 10 characters for every single attribute, but I feel like it works out the most at the end of the day. So, yeah, I think I'm quite content with this. Now, if you guys don't like this tier list, you guys are free to make your own, but I'm cool with people being chill, agreeing, disagreeing, etc. The most important thing is that you guys did enjoy this video and whatnot. So, yeah, thank you guys for watching. If you guys have enjoyed it, don't forget to smash that like button, hit the bell notification so that way you guys are up to date with my most recent videos, and all that good stuff. This has been your boy, the Death Smasher, and don't expect another top 10 list anytime soon from me because, the video is very long just because we had so many new characters to add to the list that, it was worth doing now. Now, I could have waited for mid-month to get announced in case they were to drop another 1000-year blower banner, but I kind of doubt it since we're kind of done with the anime campaign, and I just felt like this is the best way to end the characters that we had from 2024. So thank you guys for watching. This has been your boy, the Death Smasher, and I am signing out. So take care, lads. Peace out. Bye. Sana. Ciao, ciao.